Welcome to Narrative Tales. In today's video, I will be interviewing Mayank Dhyani.
Yeah, so let's start with your education. How was your schooling in college like?
The word trauma comes to mind. But I mean, I had a good time. And I think I've studied in Delhi. Like my college, my schooling, everything has been in Delhi. So I was in DPS Indirapuram and I had a good time there. I wouldn't fuss about going to school like other kids. I mean, for the most part of it. But I had a good time, and I remember there's this core memory of ninth grade when I remember my English teacher was she was dictating notes and everybody was noting them down in their notebook, and I was sitting on the first bench, and I don't know, I was writing I don't know, a short story or a poem, I don't know what it was, but obviously, I don't know what I was thinking writing that down on the first bench instead of like noting all the notes.
Mm-hmm.
So she caught me, obviously, but instead of scolding me or instead of being chided by her, I remember she just nodded and she smiled and then nodded as if she approved of me doing that. So I think we had that kind of environment where we could pursue anything honestly, and our teachers would encourage it. And I was really into writing stories and poems and all of that. And I even went to a few competitions, like inter-school competitions. And I had excellent teachers in school, who would encourage us to participate in such activities. But
Yeah.
all of that was till 10th grade because things start getting real in 11th grade
Hmm.
when you finally get to choose your stream. So I don't know, do you have it in the US as well? I don't know if it's.
Nothing like that specific as the Indian education system, but I get what you mean, yeah.
Yeah, like your school offers combinations of subjects and you
Mm-hmm.
need to pick
Right.
a
So
stream.
so
So
here
that's
in
how it works. Yeah,
right.
sorry, go on.
So here in America, each of the classes kind of has its own elective. So there's no like you pick one topic and each of your classes are based off that topic, but rather you pick each of the classes individually kind of. Well, based off your performance.
Yeah,
You don't just pick any of them, but you earn your way into getting into the classes you want to go to.
that's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah, I think it's now in India, it's more flexible now. So you can choose any combinations. But I remember when I was in school, it was a bit more rigid. Like there were predetermined streams like
Mm-hmm.
humanities, commerce, and science. So I picked up humanities and I studied subjects like political science, history, and economics, of course. And
Mm-hmm.
then in college, I studied economics and I did my bachelor's from University of Delhi for what it's worth, and my master's too in economics. Yeah.
Yeah. So, why did you decide to join economics?
I don't know. I had to do something. So I thought maybe we could start with. I mean, I knew for a fact that I did not want to study science or commerce. And economics was at the intersection of math and logic and philosophy. Like it was the perfect
Mm-hmm.
blend of those two disciplines.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really like that sweet spot where, you have theoretical frameworks, but it also relates to real life issues. And yeah, so I knew I had to study a social science because that's where my heart is. And economics seemed like the perfect choice, I think, at that time.
Right. So, a lot of your family was also in the tech industry at the time, right? What did you think about joining the tech industry?
Yeah, my dad, your dad, uh, your mom. Yeah, it was, I don't know. I think I I knew from the not from the beginning though, because there was a time where I was I don't know, a whiz kid of sorts. I was really into I don't know, computer and tech. But yeah, that faded really quickly. And I knew that I knew what I had to do with my life. And luckily I had, my parents were very understanding. They trusted me with my decision making abilities. And yeah, they understood that, I did not want to pursue what they would want me to pursue. They did not have any expectations as such either. But yeah, I think we had a very clear understanding of what I wanted to do, and it was not very difficult to convince them. Also, I never felt like I had to do what my dad was doing. I felt like I had my own thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so when you were in college, what year was it when you started your college?
It was 2019. I think it was August 29, July or August
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
2019.
yeah, yeah. So, how did COVID factor into this since now it's just when the pandemic was starting?
I'm sorry. Yeah. So I remember in the second semester had just started, and usually in DU, the even semesters or the winter semesters are spent, on fests. So that's a big thing there. So you have each college organizes its own fests. Each club and society in each college has their own fest going on during that time. And it was fest season. And yeah, we one day we just got to know that there's a pandemic, and yeah, we went into lockdown. So it was right in the middle of the second semester. And yeah, I only went to college, like physically, I only went there for the first semester and the first 2 months of second semester and the last few months of final semester.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was online.
How do you
So
think it would have affected, um, how do you think it would have affected your education in college if there wasn't a pandemic?
I would have been much better at econometrics and statistics because we had those subjects in our second year, and the second year was entirely online based.
Hmm.
So I think I would have paid more attention in physical mode.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I took things very lightly because it was, I don't know, it felt like the world was ending, and
Yeah.
I felt like nothing, there was no point in doing anything. I had complete, unrestrained, unconstrained freedom, like I felt like I could do anything. It felt like Lord of the Flies. It felt like that. But I don't know. I think, yeah, I should have paid more attention, I guess, to my lectures and my classes. I should have been, instead of just like joining the lectures and sleeping, I could have maybe paid more attention.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It would have been, I think I would have had a better understanding of concepts. I mean, eventually in my master's, I did get to learn them, but it would have been better had I, you know, grasped them when it was the right time to do that.
Right. Yeah, I see what you mean. So,
Yeah.
so if you could give yourself some advice when you were in high school, when you were in college, and when you started your first job, what would you tell yourself?
Um, it's just, I don't know. I don't think I would like to change anything. I feel like whatever mistakes I made, there was a reason behind that. And I think they have, in some weird way, shaped me. And I have learned from them. But I don't know. It's so funny that, even at 24, I'm not that old, right? But I still have so many regrets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I don't think I would want to change anything or any of the decisions that I made. But I wish as advice. Also, it's funny because I don't listen to anyone's advice, honestly. So the current me giving my past self advice, I would have been, like, I don't know.
I mean, maybe you would have listened to yourself, right?
I wouldn't. No, I don't think I would have listened to myself. But yeah, even if I would have like evidence of all the consequences that my actions would have, I don't think I would have paid attention. But I don't know. Having said that, I think I could. I wish I was more confident and more comfortable in my own skin. I feel like my insecurities really held me back in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. And then I had developed some really unhealthy defense mechanisms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I had some very, I don't know. some really, I mean, it made sense then, but some really questionable self-preservation techniques. And I wish I could be more comfortable in my own skin, and just because that, I think that helped me back a lot. And I feel like, I don't know, maybe I could have, so it would be very difficult for me to make friends, initiate conversation with people, because I would always think about what they would be thinking. My insecurities would have the best of me.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, after your college, you began your first internship, right? Hmm. So, yeah, what are some challenges you faced in your first internship job?
Um, I did my first internship during my third semester in my master's. So I was juggling academics and coursework and the internship. So it was difficult to maintain balance between the two. Like I remember it was a hybrid job. So I was supposed to go to office, report to office thrice a week. And I had to skip classes because of that. And the 2 days which I had to work from home, I could not go to I could not go to college or attend all my classes because we had to be online, I mean, throughout the day, throughout the working hours.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't, you know. So it was difficult. I think the scheduling was quite challenging. When should I focus on my coursework and when should I, focus on the tasks at hand from office. So that was quite difficult. I don't think anything else was that challenging. Of course, it felt very weird that, like I was in college just a few days ago and now I'm at I don't know, I'm at this dreadful place where everybody's hating what they're doing. But yeah, it was fun. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't like that. I think, yeah, it wasn't that challenging. I mean, it did get stressful at times, but yeah, I think the people there were very nice and very understanding, and it had a good work culture. So that wasn't very challenging. Um, yeah, it wasn't. I think the scheduling part was very difficult. So that is why, like it's very difficult. Like now it has become even more common to, intern while you're studying.
Yeah.
And I don't know how people do that. Like it's very difficult for me to multitask.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, people are doing it and they're having, I don't know, they're excelling at both the things.
Yeah. Do you
So good
think,
for them.
yeah, do you think there was something better you could have done during that time?
I think making connections because I was so, I don't know what I was scared of, honestly. I wish I could have interacted more with the people working there and with my
Mm-hmm.
colleagues and everybody. I was just, I don't know, minding my own business. And at that time, it felt like the right thing to do. I don't know why, but I wish I could have made more connections and talked to people. And yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
always
Yeah.
nice to have you know, like a community of people around. I
Mm-hmm.
wish I could have, I don't know, yeah, been more friendly, I guess, with people.
Yeah, yeah, I see what you mean. So, before we move on to the next topic, throughout this entire time, what are some success stories that you're really proud of?
My own success stories or
Yeah,
what?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I don't think I have any. I can't really think of one, which is quite depressing. But I don't know. I remember the day our board exam results came in, and I did not have. I mean, I did have expectations. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I had a pretty good result, and I mean, my parents were very happy. My nanny was very happy. Obviously, and yeah, it felt really. I don't know. It felt like I had accomplished something,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
and yeah, seeing the people that love me and have my back be happy because of my accomplishments. I mean, isn't that why we're doing everything? I
mhm.
feel like we're doing it for them.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that, yeah,
Mhm.
I think. Which is so sad because that was like 5 or 6 years ago. It's like I haven't done, like that was the peak and now everything's down and
Well, you're still
Everything
like
went up.
starting your
Yeah.
career, so it's not like unusual.
That's true. Yeah. But yeah, wait, I have a fairly recent, um, yeah. So in December, I gave an exam. I gave the UGC NET. So it's an exam we have to give in India, to get admitted into PhD programs.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to clear the NET exam and only then you can apply to PhD uh, programs. So I gave the net without any preparation. I remember I was interning, and my last working day at my previous internship was on, I don't know when it was. I think it was, it was December 29th or 28th. I don't know, I'm not sure. And we had the net exam on no, it was on November 28th or 29th, and my net exam was on December 2nd or 3rd. So I had hardly any time to prepare. And I think I still cleared it, and I was quite impressed by myself. I with that exam, I had no expectation,
Yeah.
but yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's nice. So let's move on to a different topic. So, when's the last time you disagreed with your parents on something major, and how do you navigate those types of disagreements?
Um, I don't know. Should I like start spilling my personal tea over
I
here? That
I
would be so
mean,
much fun.
if you're willing to
Because
talk about it on YouTube.
no, I don't think so. I don't
Okay.
know. But
We don't have to
uh,
talk about this if you want.
of course, I'm just kidding. No, it's just I can't think of the last. I don't know. We don't. Obviously, we disagree, but we don't, fight about it. So we kind of shun the disagreements because they're not that important, or they don't turn into something big enough to pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm really lucky with that. My parents and I, we have a very clear understanding, and we respect each other and our opinions and everything. So I don't think there are many disagreements. Um, yeah, but I do think I would disagree with them, or we would like even end up in heated arguments, like with my parents regarding politics, maybe like social political issues, because sometimes they would, like say some really out of pocket things, and that would, I don't know, make my uh, Gen Z blood boil, because I would be like, why are you saying that this isn't appropriate? You can't say that. It's 2025. So obviously, I would have those. Uh, yeah, I would have those moments where I would feel like I don't feel like I don't feel seen, or it's difficult. How do I talk to you guys about these issues with your biases? And yeah, but then I give them the benefit of doubt that, okay, they're from a different generation.
Mm-hmm.
And I might also be wrong, of course. I mean, they would think that I'm wrong. I'm thinking that they're not right to have those opinions. So I don't know. So I kind of like to uh, understand where they're coming from. That helps, I guess, sometimes,
Yeah, yeah.
because yeah, like but I don't know. We don't have like my mom and I especially, we're always on the same page. Like it never feels like we're uh, at odds with each other. When it comes to things, we're
Mm-hmm.
mostly, you know, we're quite aligned. So I'm really lucky with that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So, who would you go to for personal advice?
Um, I think by now it has been established that I don't pay heed to anybody's advice. So
That's
I don't,
true.
yeah,
Should
I
have
feel like I
considered
would go
that.
to people for advice. And then I would like, yeah, I would then, I don't know, manipulate them into telling me what I want to hear. So yeah, yeah, I don't know. I think
That's.
I trust my intuition and instincts too much. Like I think I don't, like once I've made my mind and once I know what I have to do,
Hmm.
I would do it. Like, I don't think I would listen to anyone. But if I were to go to it, someone for personal advice, it would have to be my mom, obviously, because we share a very special relationship. I'm really proud of the relationship that I have with her. And yeah, like she understands me, she gets me. So that would have to be her. Then my friends, not all of them, but some of them, I think would be good to go to in case I need some advice. And yeah, and what's really interesting is I've started doing tarot. I've started doing tarot cards, and and I'm really into divination right now. Like I'm really discovering, like exploring that realm. And I don't know, like now if I need any advice or for guidance or for self-reflection, I use those cards, and it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, maybe you don't listen to much advice, but do you have any role models?
I don't think I have one particular person,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
I would idolize or consider to be my role model.
Maybe someone you
Uh,
respect in a certain field or like to follow the example of sometimes?
yeah, the issue is that like I fear that like I don't know, some things about them or their personal life or something would come up, and I get disappointed by those revelations. So I try not to really idolize anyone or pedestalize anyone. But of course, there are people that have inspired me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, like I remember in college, I was like we had just started with we had a course on uh, like so we were supposed to have for the first 2 years during my bachelor's, we were supposed to pick electives, and we could pick electives from any discipline. Like they need not, it was not mandatory to choose from your own discipline. So
Mm-hmm.
I had uh, uh, chosen an elective from the political science department, and yeah, it was about globalization. And yeah, I remember there was a book. Um, Wait, what was it called? It was by Joseph Stiglitz. I don't know. He's a very famous economist, a Nobel laureate, and his one of his books was part of our reading list. And I remember reading that and having my mind exploded by what he wrote. And yeah, he was talking about the IMF and how the Washington Consensus doesn't always work.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and then I ended up reading a few more of his books, and yeah, I think he's one of I really respect him,
Yeah.
and he has a really nice writing style. Like it doesn't make me always open. Like reading him doesn't make me open. I don't know, Google, and like I feel like I can just read him without having to refer to other things, because it isn't that complex either. I think even you, after some time, you can even pick them up if you're his books if you're interested in economics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. So I think there's him, and on Monday we have Ambedkar Jayanti here. So B.R. Ambedkar is also one of, uh, I think, one of the most inspiring figures in Indian history, without a doubt, and a visionary and a great thinker. So
Mm-hmm.
there's him as well. Um, I don't know. I think, yeah, I can't really come up with anyone else. Like, I don't know. These two people come to mind when I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. So let's move to a much broader topic and talk about some more global things. What do you know about AI?
Um, I think like it's one of those things which you use without knowing much about it. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I try to minimize my use of Chat GPT and AI because of how, because of its detrimental impact on the environment, of course. But I feel like I'm slowly, there was a point where I got really addicted to it. And I started like talking to it as a friend, like, can you help me with this? And it just was Yeah, but I don't know much, but I use it. I remember during my masters I used it extensively for my dissertation while I was working on my dissertation. And it was quite helpful actually. And yeah, as a student, I think my experience has been pretty good. Like I don't think I would um I mean, obviously, I had my own original ideas. It's not like I was, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just am speaking a whole bunch of nothing. Um,
Well,
but
you raised an interesting point. What it you said ChatGPT's effects on the environment?
yeah, I mean, because I think that was something that really caught my eye. I was reading an article on how, so we've got an innovation or like a technological advancement. It should have a net positive impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the benefits should outweigh the costs, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like with AI, I think it requires a lot of computing power, and it relies on a lot of electricity, and with the data centers require a lot of water and raw materials, and it leads to a lot of CO2 emissions. So I feel like, obviously, with the times that we are living in, climate change is real and we can
Mm-hmm.
see it. It's not like, it's yeah, and I live in Delhi, and I'm seeing the consequences of climate change in real time. Like, we last year we had the hottest summer ever. And yeah, like the place that I grew up in and I was born in and I've lived my entire life is becoming uninhabitable. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously that is something that really concerns me. So yeah, I think the environmental aspects and the sustainability aspects of AI uh, are really concerning to me. And I think it really calls for uh, some policy interventions like regulating AI and asking AI or tech companies to make public disclosures on how they are using the resources,
Mm-hmm.
and whether they're using sustainable methods for like generating for doing whatever they're doing
Yeah.
actually, and yeah, stuff like that. So I think as long as the net impact of AI is positive, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But yeah,
Do you think that if AI hadn't been invented, that those resources would actually go to a better place?
that's an interesting question. I mean, we would have been freed up. Those resources would have been freed up, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I don't know where they would have went, but um, that's you. Yeah, now I'm confused. But no, I don't feel like I'm confused. No, I am not confused. But I don't know. I think obviously every resource has an opportunity cost, and we could have and they don't have to be used. I think not every resource needs to be depleted or used. It's okay to conserve some resources, I guess. But yeah,
But do you think
it's not
that?
it's not ne- sorry,
Yeah,
sorry,
no,
I'm
no.
so sorry.
Yeah, what were you saying?
I was saying that it's not necessary to like put all the resources at work, you know? Maybe conservation
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
or yeah.
So, what do you think about other AIs, like AIs used to identify like photos, identify other things like that?
I haven't really used that technology, and I don't know how advanced they are either, because I remember it's so like when I wake up in the morning and I try to lock my screen, it's not able to identify me. So I don't know how advanced these technologies are. But yeah, yeah, there was this deep fake fiasco. I think not.
Mm-hmm.
When did that happen? I mean, I remember a lot of stories about deep
Right.
fakes
Yeah,
and
there was
all
a
of
lot
that
about
because I
that.
think yeah, it's insane. Like, I don't know. I don't, it's just, it makes me very uncomfortable to think that there are people who would want to do that. And
Yeah.
like, you have this novel technology, and the first thing that comes to your mind is to do that with it, which is quite insane.
Yeah.
So I think it's never the technology which has, like,
It's
which
the
is bad or
user.
good. It's always the people. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think, yeah. And also I need to bring this up. These Studio Ghibli photos, these Studio Ghibli, do you know what that is?
Well, I know Studio
So yeah,
Ghibli, but I don't know what you're talking about.
yeah. So what they're doing is that they're converting their real life photos into Studio Ghibli, like,
Oh, like a
like
filter?
animation. Yeah, and it's insane. I don't even know how people are like liking it. It looks like it's made by somebody who has, it looks soulless. And I don't know why people, it's really interesting how people can really appreciate AI art, but in doing that, they're just being so dumb. Like they're not, I don't know, it's so strange. Like you look at those photos and you're like, all the resources went to waste for that. It's quite insane
Hmm.
actually. And they're not even like aesthetically pleasing. They're just stupid cartoon photos of themselves. It's
Hmm.
insane. Like,
Well, what about this? What um what net effect do you think AI has had on the world?
uh I don't know much about it, to be very honest. I don't really stay updated on AI and tech that much. But I don't know. There have been like some great strides made in like I know that it has great use in the fields of medicine, in finance as well,
In
with
farming?
um I don't know what the impact is actually. This is very new to me. Like it's new to everybody, but I don't feel like my world and the tech world and AI, sort of. Yeah, I think it is an issue it's an issue that concerns all of us. But at the same time, I don't feel like I have enough information or I have read enough about it to like have an opinion. I'm so sorry. I feel worthless. I feel
No.
useless right now. But I genuinely don't. I can't think of anything.
No, yeah, that's fine. Well, let's move away from AI. So, you know about the tariff war between USA and China right now, right?
Oh God. Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up. I feel like this is my chance to redeem myself after that horrible whatever that was. Yeah, so it's so interesting that you brought it up because um, in my final semester of my masters, we had a course on international trade, and it was one of my most favorite courses. We had an excellent professor teaching that course, and we had very lively discussions in our classes about trade theories and real life cases, and in our first lecture we are when our professor was introducing us to the course, I remember she brought up Trumponomics, which is basically the economics of Trump during his first administration.
That's a fun
And the
name.
first time, yeah, and the first time we had the US China war, like the US China trade war
Hmm.
during his administration. So that it's interesting that that was the point of departure, like that was the starting point for our course. And so from what I understand and from my understanding of international trade, tariffs are essentially tariff is like a tax, when a country imposes a tariff on another country, it's basically imposing a tax.
Hmm.
And taxes are distortionary, right? They change the actual market price of a good. So what happens is that when the importers are importing goods they have to pay the tariffs to the government, right? And those tariffs are paid to the government, and the increase in cost of importing those goods, that increase or that those tariffs are actually the burden of those tariffs are actually passed on to consumers. So because that good has a higher price, somebody has to pay it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it ends up being the consumers. I hope you're getting what I'm
Yeah,
saying, right?
yeah.
I hope I'm making sense.
Yeah, it's a pretty big misconception that it's China paying the tariffs, but it's not. It's the
It
American
isn't.
importers paying when they're trying to bring in the products, and then the consumers paying when the price goes up for those same products.
Exactly, exactly. And what happens is that industries, domestic industries as well, kind of they increase the prices of their own goods as well. Why? Because the prices of the imports has increased, and now it is a chance for them to like increase their profit margins as well. So they do that. So it leads to an overall increase in the price levels. And what we also forget about is that we forget about retaliation. Like you're imposing a tariff on one country and you don't expect them to do anything about it.
Yeah,
So that leads to retaliation from other countries. And
and that's what's
it
going on
affects
in
the
this.
downstream.
And that's what's going
That's
on in
what's
this
going
tariffs
on.
game.
Exactly. Yeah. And that really affects the downstream industries, industries which heavily rely on inputs from outside their own country.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have a global supply chain now. Our value chains and supply chains are globalized. So yeah, we have inputs, we have inputs, we import inputs from all across the world. So of course it affects those industries. And I feel like, yeah, I don't know what the main rationale was to, like the main rationale behind imposing tariffs is to reduce the trade deficit. I hope you know what that is.
Um, like demotivate them from importing.
Exactly, essentially. Yeah, like a trade deficit is exports minus imports.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, there's a common perception that trade deficits are bad, which is not necessarily true. Like they feel that you should export more than import, um, which is not true. So I think that was Trump's main rationale behind imposing tariffs. And he said that, China and all other countries were imposing unfair taxes on the US. And it was time to like give it back to them. I don't know. But
But
yeah, I think tariffs, there are better government policy interventions than tariffs. If you want to help domestic producers, you can give them you can give them production subsidies.
mm-hmm, right.
And yeah, I think there are much better ways of achieving what you want to achieve uh, you know, than tariffs. Also, tariffs are very sticky. So what that means is that once you impose tariffs, it's very difficult to undo them because the domestic producers kind of lobby, like create a very powerful lobby, and you can't really unwind the tariffs once you impose them.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So, what do you think about, well, the current tariff war where Trump is saying he's adding tariffs and China's also putting more tariffs? Do you think it's going to go anywhere or it's all going to like come down to just a nothing?
I think it has always come down to nothing. Like we've got enough evidence to show that tariffs are distortionary and have like almost no welfare effects, like have
Mhm.
negative welfare effects on consumers especially. So it's always the household, the consumers. It's always us who have to like face the brunt of these tariffs, and these, I don't know, insane policies.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like it's going to lead to inflation. There's going to be inflation, and I feel like we're going through a recession. So yeah, I think it's going to lead nowhere. It would end up in an, I don't know, an agreement where they would like
Mhm.
have to stop It doesn't make sense to me, at least. It doesn't make any sense economically,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's about everything I have to ask you. Is there anything you would like to ask
Oh,
me?
um, no, I just really wanted to say that I'm so happy to see you take these interviews, and I've seen the last two videos, and they were really fun and quite interesting conversations. And I just wanted to ask, where did you come up with this idea? Like,
That's a good question. It's pretty complicated, but I saw like these interviews that would happen online, right? And I talked with my dad about it, and it seemed to be interesting to like host one of these
yeah,
and see like what interesting things could I ask, right? And it was a great way for me to like bond with people that I may not talk to as much. Great way to leave a positive digital footprint for me as I grow up.
yeah.
And also just like a great way for me to learn. As the catchphrase is, this channel is all about learning from experiences.
That's so nice. Yeah. Yeah, you're doing a great job. I really enjoyed this interview and all the other interviews that you've put up till now. Uh, yeah, and these were great questions. Like, great job with all these questions. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
thank you.
there were a few questions that had me stumped. Then I did not know what to say, but yeah, great questions. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So that's everything. Thank you for participating.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Narrative Tales. If you enjoyed, consider checking out some of my other videos.